Let us discuss the question. Are you surprised? Are you surprised that Trey Hendrickson finds himself in limbo with the Bengals? He's doing the limbo with the Bengals, and here we are now, the trade conversation getting cranked up. Are you surprised by this? So I've got Tom Cruise, runny scrambled eggs, and Radio Shack. And we will combine all of these things together, and we are going to make pancakes with delicious syrup on top, something that I don't eat very often, but occasionally I will partake in pancakes and cinnamon rolls and just absolutely wonderful. So number one. I said number one. We are genuinely surprised that the Cincinnati football team waited this long, unless we're not. This is standard operating procedure for the Bengals. What did you expect to change? Like, what exactly was going to change here? They're always playing the Bengals. They're always playing the how low can you go game. How low can you go? And, well, apparently, based on a minutes-long deliberation of the events that took place over the weekend, apparently Trey Hendrickson can't go low enough for Mike Brown, the coupon clipping front office and ownership group of the Cincinnati football team. Now, Mike Brown and his cronies, it's the family business. So they all act like they're at the supermarket. We've all been grocery shopping, and you're behind the person at the checkout stand that has not just a couple of coupons, a giant folder filled with coupons. You know that person? You ever been behind that person? Yeah. It makes you question your existence on the planet. The person, they got a giant binder full of coupons, and they're arguing over 35 cents off the canned corn. And they're not going to buy the canned corn unless they get the 35 discount, but it's a manufacturer's discount. It does not apply. The statute has run out on that, but they're fighting. They're sparring back and forth. And so, meanwhile, you're just kind of sitting there. You're like, I just want to get my stuff and get out of here. Like, I don't need this, right? And the Bengals are sitting here. They're like, well, listen, I know we have one of the top pass rushers in the NFL and all that stuff, but our defense blew with this guy last year. And so they're treating him like, it doesn't matter. And you can argue the Bengals are going to suck on defense whether Hendrickson's there or not. And the law of averages, if you believe in such things, says they'll actually be a little bit better next season just because they were so bad, underachieved last season. But this is all part of the franchise charter in Cincinnati when it comes to the football team. They got Joe Burrow, franchise-changing quarterback, and they signed Jamar Chase, and they signed T. Higgins to large contract extensions, and the real window is open right now for the Bengals to continue to be a playoff team, although they were not a playoff team last year. But instead of doubling doubling down, they're in the corner right now, and they're counting my old nemesis, the penny. They're counting pennies in the corner like Grandpa Simpson. 1 penny, 2 penny, 3 penny, 4 penny, 5 penny. And it's kind of like this. They're listening to trade offers. They're like, okay, well, why weren't you doing that a couple months ago? What are you doing? You could have done that at the NFL draft. You could have made a move that would have gotten you something that you could have put on the field this season. And this is the reigning sack leader in the NFL you're talking about. It's kind of like having Tom Cruise back in his prime, and Tom Cruise is the headliner on the movie set. And you're like, we don't really need Tom Cruise. Why don't we trade Tom Cruise and we'll get like Pauly Shore. We'll put Pauly Shore out there back. If you're a fan of old movies, not a great trade, not a great transaction there. But you do it. Now, page 2. So where is Trey Hendrickson likely to land if Cincinnati does pull the trigger and hit the nuclear option and trade Trey Lance? So where does he end up if this actually becomes a thing? So the one that makes all the sense in the world is the Motor City Kitties, the Lions. That makes all the sense in the world there. The Dan Campbell's kneecap biting fantasy, and the Lions are in it to win it right now. This is the golden era of Lion football, and they took a step back last year, and who cares about draft picks? F them picks. You go for it. You get a proven commodity, defensive edge rusher, and Trey Hendrickson. That's the move. Then you say, well, what about the Eagles? The Eagles are the reigning Super Bowl champions of the NFL. Howie Roseman, who has his toes tickled by Eagle apologists and media fanboys. They love Howie Roseman. So Howie Roseman would trade his grandma's crock pot to improve the Eagles defensively, to get them. And they were great last year. That's championship-level defense, but you got to keep improving. You got to keep getting better and better and better. And then you look around. There's other teams in the NFC. So the Rams, that's the kind of move the Rams would make. This is now a defensive team because Stafford's got his issues there. So if you're the Rams, you want to fatten up the defense. You got to pay, though, Trey Hendrickson. And then if the Green Bay Packers were not a community-owned team, you'd say the Green Bay Packers would make a lot of sense for Trey Hendrickson. And then you say, well, what about the AFC? If the Bengals are willing to trade Trey Hendrickson to any team, anywhere, at any time, and that includes the AFC, then that's Andy Reid knocking on the door right there. Big Red, Andy Reid, come on down. Wearing his Hawaiian shirt, Andy Reid, and he's got a cheeseburger. He's nibbling on a cheeseburger there, and he's thinking about draft picks. As everyone knows in the NFL, the real ones know, and I did a rant about this on the 5th Hour podcast, which was approved, by the way, by Robbie the Mariner fan. He approved the logic. He is starting to see the light, which tells me Robbie's becoming an older person because he sees light. But draft picks are the bingo cards of football. All right? Most are worthless. You play bingo. I play bingo every once in a while. Why not? Most of those bingo cards are completely worthless. Give me a guy who actually gets to the quarterback, a proven commodity, a known commodity, and that's what I was. And Kansas City, just like Philadelphia and Detroit, this is the golden era for the Chiefs. You got to go for it, and who cares about draft picks? And bingo cards, it's the same concept, scratcher tickets. It's the analogy works. It's the perfect analogy for draft picks. You sit there, you have 20 of them, and you're all excited. You got 20 bingo cards, and half the time you end up with guys who are hanging out at a round table, not a round table restaurant. They're at a round table with Flo from Progressive. They've got the Geico Gecko on another part of the round table. They've got Jake from State Farm, and they're all eating runny, just absolutely disgusting runny scrambled eggs and soggy bacon at an insurance conference at an airport Holiday Inn in Omaha, and they're talking about insurance, but that player was just drafted to be an impact player in the NFL. The bingo card did not work out. Now they're hanging out with Flo and the Geico. The Geico Gecko. That's what they're doing. All right, anyway, now meanwhile, so you have Trey Hendrickson, who is going to have some say in this because whoever's trading for him is going to want to have him happy and sign him to an extension, so it takes two to tango. He is a proven commodity, Hendrickson, and it's like knowing you're going to get a little something. Like there's a little bit of money there. Now, how much he has left in the tank, that's open for conversation and open for debate. But based on what we have seen, the Bengals, they will not get it done. See, I'm still not convinced. Even though the reports came out over the weekend, it's all posture. You say, well, now we're open for business to trade Trey Hendrickson. They'll drag this out right up until the start of the NFL regular season. They'll drag this out because they overvalue things like bingo cards and all that stuff. And Hendrickson, listen, he is going to end up somewhere else eventually, and most likely terrorizing Joe Burrow and the Bengals offense at some point down the line, unless the qualifications here for Cincinnati is you can only trade Trey Hendrickson to an NFC team that does not play the Bengals, and the only way Hendrickson would come back to haunt them as a poltergeist would be in a Super Bowl situation. All right, but the Bengals clearly, the front office there, the ownership, fans of the dancing clown Pennywise. They were, because it's the Bengal way. I'm telling you, it is the Bengal way here, as they are Pennywise, pound foolish. That is what the Cincinnati Bengals stand for. It's like Stephen King approves this message. And all this because Mike Brown wants to save a little bit of money on gas, save a couple of shekels on some gas. All right.